Good evening, and welcome to the Feather Cottage with Dee. I know many of you have been wondering what's happened to me. I've been gone for over a year. We've had some health issues between my husband and I, and so it just wasn't where I was really able to make any videos. We've been battling dementia, we've been battling cancer, just been battling. And so I haven't been on, but I'm coming back. I miss you all. I miss doing the videos, but for right now, I'm going to do them, just release them on Sundays so that I have the week to make the video and edit the video and all that without putting pressure on myself with everything else going on. I don't know where to start, whether to start with my husband or myself. Well, I'll start here. We're back in Kentucky. We're living at a campground. I really don't want another house. That just probably sounds crazy to everybody, but I love the fact that we don't have a yard to keep up. We've got a lake view. I don't know if y'all can see it. The way I got the camera right there is part of the lake. There's just a whole lot of lake view of Kentucky Lake, and so it's nice to be home. I'm back around the grandkids, back around my daughters, so that's nice. I've been close to my doctors. We can get to Nashville where my major doctor has been or is, so it's just been the best thing for us to come off the road and stay here. And like I said, I really don't want to get another house. Our kids wanted us to. They want us to sell the camper and buy another house, and I love my camper. And like when I came home from the hospital, it was so easy to maneuver. If I got off balance, all I had to do was grab a wall, and in a house that's not always the case. So it was a blessing to have the camper when I came home from the hospital. But at any rate, so that's where we are. We're back in Kentucky. We're still in our RV, and probably intend to stay here in the RV is my intentions, I hope. Okay, I guess I'll start with me since I'm sitting telling you I was in the hospital. A year ago, July, we had a family reunion. Sorry for the way I look. We had a family reunion in Mississippi. My sister-in-law and I hosted it, and so we were running all day Saturday. Oh wait, back up, I'm getting ahead of myself. Friday night, we were going to go get my mother-in-law and our aunt that are both in assisted living. And so, traveling, you put stuff in the back seat. So we were going to get everything out of the back seat so that there'd be room for me and what ended up being Aunt Becky back there. And when we were moving stuff out, I hit my head on the side of the camper, on the front end of it. It hurt. I hit it hard enough it knocked me backwards. And I was like, take calm, Well, didn't think a lot about it. We went to dinner. Everything was fine. This was Thursday night. I'm lying to you. This was Thursday night that I did this. Friday, we all went to lunch. But Friday night, they were all going to what they call a fish camp, a place that sells seafood or catfish and that kind of stuff. And my head was just hurting. I had a bad headache. And I told him, I said, just go on without me. Enjoy your family. I'm going to bed. And so I went to bed, and the next day was Saturday, and that's when the family reunion was. And if you hear noise, it's people in their little golf carts going by. So you gotta just excuse that. Oh, there he goes. Anyway, so my sister-in-law and I we had pre-ordered, all the food because there wasn't any way for us to cook it like we used to do. Mom doesn't have her house anymore. She sold it, so it was just best to order from various places the food we needed. So she and I were picking the food up and all, and you know, she looked at me really funny and she said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I feel fine." She said, "Okay." So we get to the reunion, and our aunt is a nurse, and our daughter is a nurse practitioner. And my aunt looks at me and she said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, looks like you might be getting Bell's palsy on the left side of your face." And I was like, "Well, I don't feel funny. I don't, nothing feels different." She kept looking at me and she called our daughter over and she said, "Do you think she might be having a stroke?" And Allison said, "Possible." So they decided that Ronnie needed to get me to the hospital and find out what was going on. We get to the hospital, get me registered and all that stuff, go back and get a CAT scan. And the little girl that was doing the CAT scan, she's sitting there, and all of a sudden you see her mouth go. And I thought, "Ooh, that's not good. I don't like that look." So she went and she called her boss in, and she said, "Come look at this." So her boss was in looking, and she went as well. And I'm like, okay, two big mouth opens, something's not right. And so I said, what are you all seeing? What's wrong? Have I had a stroke? And they're like, "No, ma'am, you haven't had a stroke, but you have a huge mass on your brain." I was like, "I have a what?" She said, "You have a huge mass on your brain. You need to see a neurosurgeon immediately." And I was like, "Okay." So we left there, went back. Family reunion was over by the time we got done. Did get to eat. There was still food left. And so then the next day we left and went back to Tennessee. I don't know, back wherever we were working. And I came home to see my primary care because that was the only way to get referred to a neurosurgeon. And so he referred me to one neurosurgeon in Nashville. That neurosurgeon looked at the CAT scan. No, back up. My primary care doctor at the time had me go get an MRI. And so that he sent to the surgeon in Nashville. That surgeon looked at the MRI and said, "I'm not touching it. Not doing it, but I'll refer you to somebody else that would probably be really good at this." So they did. And so I got an appointment with Dr. Franklin at Nashville Neurology. If you ever have to have any type of brain surgery, he's definitely the one to try to get a hold of. So finally got the appointment with him, and he had another MRI done and had his people there at Centennial Hospital read it. And so we had to go get my eyes checked to see how much damage the tumor had done to my eyes. I had to do what they call a balloon test, where he went through my veins and was, checking how my veins and stuff were. He got to this side of my carotid artery, and I tried to stroke on him, and he was like, "Whoop, can't touch that." And so we got this much figured out, and then they decided we were going to do surgery December 19th. And I've got to go get my power cord because my phone's going dead. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. When the phone goes dead, you're in trouble. So I had to get the cord. Anyway, surgery was scheduled for December 19th, 2023. Went into surgery. It's a 9.5 hour surgery. It was really cool though, because I had two doctors. I had Dr. Franklin and Dr. Sachs, who's an ENT. But they went up through my nose and drilled a hole up in here and went in and worked on the tumor. They got 80% of it, but they couldn't get back here on my spinal cord and a little spot right in here. So I had to go stayed in the hospital till the 30th of December. I was surprising everybody because I was determined I was getting out. I wasn't staying in. Rodney was having troubles, and I knew I needed to get home. I was thinking clear, and that was the thing that was so weird about it, is they kept saying, did you have headaches? Were you having trouble seeing? Were you off balance? You know, they were asking me all these questions, and I'm like, nope. I mean, I said I did have to get different strength, stronger strength reading glasses, but I just took that I was getting old. And they were like, no, that was because the tumor was pressing on your optical nerve. I was like, good to know. The tumor is the largest tumor that Dr. Franklin, who's been a surgeon for 27 years, it's the largest tumor of Cordoba. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but this type of tumor. It was the largest he's seen. It is malignant. And he got as much as he could. Then he recommended that he wanted me to have proton radiation, but our insurance wouldn't pay for it. So I had to have just regular low-dose radiation, which I had here in Paducah. Did 28 rounds of radiation, and then went back 2 months ago and had another MRI with contrast done in Nashville. And the tumor, the radiation kind of just split it. There's still tumor up here, none right through here, and there's still tumor on my spinal cord. So we're going to have another MRI with contrast done next month and see and hope the tumor's not growing. Oh, there's also one on my carotid artery that there's just no way to get rid of it without me having a stroke. So I will have cancer the rest of my life, but just right here. So it's been a year, almost a year and a half of lots of prayer, a lot of support from family and friends. It's very scary because if this tumor is growing again, I will have to have cranial surgery, which is they'll cut my skull open and have to remove the tumor. So I'm hoping it's not growing. Let him get by. There's just staying like it is. I will have to have every 3 months MRI with contrast run to keep an eye on it. If it doesn't grow and everything's staying okay, possibly next year I can go 4 months. And if it's still staying the same, then, it's another 5 years of checking on this tumor, because this tumor can regrow within 5 years. And the strange thing about this tumor is you actually develop the possibilities of having it in your mother's womb. Like, here's your skull, here's your brain. In between here are little phyllias, little hairy things. If they're going like this, you're not going to get it. If they go like this, you possibly can get it, but you're more than likely to get it. And that's the only thing I have found that was a birth defect that I've had being a tubal pregnancy. And did not find that out till I was 60. Well, 59. No. Yeah. So I had the possibility of getting it, and I got it. When I went to my oncologist for my 28 rounds of radiation, he too, who had been an oncologist for 35 years, said that it was the largest tumor he had seen as well. That was the crazy thing, is if I hadn't hit my head on the camper, how God places things that just don't make sense at the time. If I hadn't hit my head on the camper, nobody would have, thought anything about it, and I wouldn't have. And both doctors have told me that I'm lucky to be alive, that where it was pressing on my spinal cord should have stopped my heart and stopped my breathing. So God has some kind of plans for me. I'm not sure what they are, but he has some kind of plan for me because I'm still alive, and I thank him for that. So that's what's been going on with me, and why I just haven't had the strength or the mindset to be able to do another video. I will tell you about my husband in my next video. This one's probably long enough that y'all have got the gist of it. I do ask that you all please keep me in your prayers, especially next month when I have the MRI done in September, that the tumor has not grown. Why, when I had it through my nose surgery, I wasn't scared. I wasn't anything. I mean, it was so strange. I wasn't. I knew I was in God's hands, and that either I'd make it through it or I'd get to see him really quick. And I wasn't scared. The healing, I couldn't lean over. There's, several rules. I couldn't blow my nose, that kind of stuff, because they put packing all up in here to close off that hole. And so it took like 8 weeks for that, and then slowly they started removing the packing. And now I can blow my nose and stuff, but there for like almost 2.5, almost 3 months, I couldn't do anything like that. The cranial scares me to death. Having your head cut open, and when I was in college, when I was taking my radiation, there were several people there that, like where they'd had it, and go in and then it'd dip and then come back out, and you could see right where their head had been cut. And I was like, oh my gosh, and it was just weird. So I asked Dr. Franklin, I said, am I going to have this big old dip, because they're going to have to come here and this way? And he said, no, we put metal back in there to make your head look normal again. And I was like, thank you. But it'll be very, very long recovery from that. So I really don't want to have it if I can keep from it. But, it's in God's hands. And so I do ask for y'all's prayer that the tumor hasn't grown, and that maybe, which sounds crazy because they said the radiation could keep working for a little bit longer, that maybe it has actually shrunk from the radiation. It did affect the optical nerves in my right eye, so I have to get glasses for that. But it only did like a 2 in this eye, and this eye's fine, which was crazy as all get out, because this was the eye that was bothering me before surgery. And since surgery, I see 100% out of it. Doesn't make sense, but I guess it's because the brain, everything's on the opposite side. So anyway, that's what's been going on with me, and why I haven't done another video. In the next video, I'll tell you about my husband and what's going on there, and what I've been dealing with not only my cancer, but with his health as well. So I appreciate you stopping by. If you have anything that you'd like to add and say in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. And if you'll give this video a thumbs up, I may do a few more in-depth videos of this, because I guess this is kind of a common, well, it's not common, it's actually a rare type of tumor, but there is other people out there that have had it. I'll put a picture of the MRI where I had the brain tumor, so you can see what I'm talking about at the end of this video. But until then, I just want to thank you for stopping by, and let me explain where I've been what's been going on with me and why I haven't been on in almost a year. Well, I guess it is a year, a little over a year. But I'm back, and I plan to be putting out a video at least every Sunday. So until then, I hope you all have a great week, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye. I just came back on for real quick. As I was editing this, I tried to explain the very last picture, and the words are so small that it wouldn't take right. So I'll explain to you now. On the left side of the picture is what the tumor looks like now. On the right side is what the tumor looked like before surgery. So me typing it in there, it just didn't show up. So I wanted to explain that. Anyway, now you've seen what the tumor looked like. You've seen what I look like getting ready for radiation treatment, and what it looked like my last MRI. And hopefully it will have stayed the same in this next MRI. So keep me in your prayers. And again, thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, I'd love for you to join us. And if you've been here for a long time, thank you for sticking around. I deeply appreciate it. Love you all, and you'll have a great week. Bye-bye.